Welcome into 11 Personnel, presented by Monticello Bank. NBCbank.com is where you can find them online. You can also find them somewhere near you. There's plenty of locations all around the Commonwealth. They've been in business since 1895 because at Monticello Bank, it's where people matter. Home buying season, it's here. Check their rates today. Get it done with the best bank around. Monticello Bank, proud presenting sponsors of 11 Personnel, member FDIC, equal housing lender. I'm Nick Roush. He's Adam Luckett. And we have spring football next week. We're going to talk about that a lot today. But Luckett, first, we got to start with the big news of the week. Mitch Barnhart's long tenure is coming to an end this June after 24 years. For some reason, Luckett, I can visualize the Courier Journal picture when Barnhart got hired from so long ago, back when I used to wake up each morning and read
on your age here,
Bozich or 40's column, whatever they had on the left side while I would eat my bowl of cereal. But it's been a long time. It's been a very, very long time. Luckett, I think we all kind of knew this was going to happen at some point. I don't think we knew. It's kind of I don't have a great analogy for it, but maybe it's like you're a parent and you know your kid one day is going to drop an F-bomb. You know it's going to happen at some point, but when it happens, you're just like, oh, all right, now I got to deal with this, and we're dealing with it now.
Yeah, just like, Nick, how long were you on? Like, how long were you? Think about how long you were on the beat before you got to cover any search, like a big search.
Yeah, I mean, the Joker thing happened right away, but I didn't even know. Like, I didn't know what I was doing, so like that doesn't really count.
Heck, you were still probably a pup when Mingione was.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
and he's been here 10 years. I think this is his 10th year. So like, we really haven't had, even that, like any searches. And now we've had 3 in
3 years.
Less than 2 calendar years? 2 years?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I mean, this will be the 2-year anniversary of Pope being hired here in about a month.
Yeah,
so in
crazy.
23 months, we've had basketball search, football search, AD search. And that is kind of just, to me, describes the Mitch era in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Steady Eddie, not much change, king of stability. And that was his calling card, I think, on top of being, as I've called him on this show, a budget king. Like, that was his number one goal. Slow and steady wins the race. Which I think, like, if you were going to kind of write his administration philosophy, I think that was kind of it. And don't do anything that is going to, put this department in a position where we have to make sacrifices. So staying above deficits, not making rash decisions, not being afraid to ride out waves. I think that was ultimately what he did. But I do think, with that said, we entered a period where you couldn't.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the best path forward. And we're still in that, I think, period. And so we're moving on. Kentucky's moving on. But I think, you have to tip your hat to Mitch. You can poke holes in the resume for sure. But overall, that's a long time to do this job. He had success. He made good hires. He was basically like the Jim Walsh or the Sean McVay of athletic directors. Yeah. Bill Walsh, not Jim Walsh. Bill Walsh. Now Sean McVay. Just anybody that like was in the same circle as him got a job.
Yeah.
And so now, the university moves on, and it's going to be different. And this is a fascinating search for them. In a lot of ways, because I think of what is kind of needed, and then just everything it's going to touch, specifically when you mentioned just basketball, football, how new that is over there, how new the Champions Blue LLC is, how new everything is. It's pretty unique time to be making this change for Kentucky.
Well, and it certainly feels like Mitch was wanting to make some of those changes to kind of set the table for whoever his successor is, which, it's even if they do hire externally, they don't just promote from within. The new person is operating within certain confines because there's a long-term deal with JMI in place for how things are going to operate. You mentioned the Champions Blue already. So no matter what, the next guy is dealing with a lot of how Mitch saw the future panning out. Now, who that next guy or gal could be to be the next AD, there's a lot of names you could throw on the board. I'll say just from my perspective, Luckett, on, because as I kind of mentioned off the top, there were multiple times where we thought, well, it looks like Mitch is going to retire. Could it be Mark Hill? Could it be Rachel Baker? Could it be one of these? Everything that when I would talk to people who knew were in those sort of circles, if you will, they did not think that would be the case, that it would not be an internal hire. Now, that person might not know everything, but that was their always read on the situation. Who knows? I think the one thing that's remarkable now is just that you're not in a rush. Whereas, if you go back and look at some of the previous coaching searches, it took Jurich, like 3 months to hire Patino. It took CM Newton, how long was that courtship? That was a wild, long ride when they were trying to get Patino to come to UK back in the 90s. Those things used to take a lot of time. The transfer portal has clearly expedited the process, but there's nothing just right there at the end that says you got to make this hire right away. So I feel like it's going to be a longer one, Luckett.
Yeah, I think they want to get this person in by the time the fall semester begins. But yeah, these presidents and AD searches, they typically can take some time.
Yeah. So I have a feeling there will be some names that get whispered about periodically, and some of those might be trial balloons. So, kind of take it with a grain of salt. But I did want to spend some time just talking about Mitch Barnhart specifically for Kentucky football. We're a Kentucky football podcast after all, and you can poke a lot of holes in his resume, as you said, and it's got some stains on it on his way out with the 2 sexual misconduct investigations, long-term contracts, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think any AD is going to go perfect on their hires. But for Barnhart's sake, Kentucky football fans, they have plenty of grievances against that guy. But has anybody done more for Kentucky football than Mitch Barnhart? People got mad that they put CM Newton grounds at Kroger Field because football fans hated CM Newton. They just did. They thought that he didn't care for it at all. His only way to give football fans something to cheer about was to do some gimmick, right? They didn't think that he prioritized football at all.
The mummy thing worked, but on the surface, dude, he hired a D2 coach to come coach in the SEC. I get why people were upset. That is just – and mummy, they were doing stuff, but it wasn't like they were – I have to look back. I don't think they were winning it wasn't like North Dakota State dominance.
Valdosta,
yeah, Valdosta. It was a unique thing they were doing. It ended up working out, but yeah, I understand why people felt that way.
Well, and – so Mitch, he enters his first year. It's amazing that he made it this far because in his first year, he accepts the job knowing that Kentucky is on probation from the Claude Bassett scandal, which Claude Bassett, the stories about that guy, what a cartoon character.
Which is also, they got in trouble because Fulmer's a tattletale for the means kid in Memphis, right? Alabama and Kentucky got pinched for that. I could go on for days, but yeah, go ahead.
But so the NCAA, they punished Kentucky in January. In July, Barnhart's hired. But he had a coach in place, Guy Morris, who I don't remember who I had the conversation with, but they really pushed. It might have been Derek Abney. They really pushed for Guy Mo to get the interim tag removed to remain the head coach. And that first year, they were awesome. Like that 2002 season, I know the couch year was great as well, but the 2002 season seemed like a high watermark year. And if they don't have the Bluegrass Miracle, they're winning 8 games. But they couldn't go to the postseason. Still, you had Jared Lorenzen and Derek Abney coming back for another year. They had a lot of momentum. Things look good. And you got this cool coach who's riding a Harley out onto the field with the team. And then Baylor calls, his alma mater. He leaves. So Barnhart, in his first 6 months, has to do a coaching search. And he's this close to hitting a home run. Has Bill Parcells lined up, that's where the sort of infamous he's looking for horse farms kind of saying goes back to, because that's what people are whispering about. But people in the know will tell you that there was some serious interest from Parcells' side before Jerry Jones called him to come coach the Dallas Cowboys. So, Mitch goes through the list of candidates, and you've told the story before too. Like Rich Brooks went from helping Mitch find guys to being like, hey, you want to do this, Rich? And
yeah, I mean, it was more Rich saying, just hire me.
Yeah.
And then it's interesting if you kind of look back at this. And I think if you kind of look back at Mitch's early basketball searches, and then you kind of look at his last couple searches, those got extended and played out a little bit. The football one, like when they hired Brooks, that took some time. The basketball one, when they hired Gillespie, took some time. Right? They were waiting on Izzo. Remember, Izzo ended up beating Louisville, go to the Final Four. They're going on Suton game. Remember it well. So in college, fun times. So he waited. Where the new searches,
there's no waiting.
He did well.
Stein was hired in 24 hours, basically.
Well, you had the portal, but I mean more for Pope. Like, they got to a certain period, and he's like, "We're going. I'm not waiting around for anyone else." And then, this last football one happened in like a day.
Yeah. But back to the Brooks thing, it didn't work out immediately. Obviously, they didn't win many games, but I mean, Kentucky went to 4 straight bowl games with Brooks before he announced his retirement. And I think some folks will criticize Mitch for not getting better investment for the program, but he hired the right guy. They won a lot of games, and he'll get crushed for the Joker thing. But as bad as Joker is in hindsight, at the time, he kind of had to do it because Joker was a pretty popular. I mean, he was a big time recruiter. He orchestrated the offense. He was a play caller. Joker was he was very hot in the streets, and it would have looked really bad had this former Kentucky player you let walk from the most successful era in 3 generations.
Yeah, I mean, Joker had a lot to do with the rise under Brooks. Going back to that, Nick, Joker was involved in an Oklahoma OC search.
Yeah.
And now it was Bob Stoops. I cannot remember who he ended up hiring.
Was it Heupel? Is that too early?
I think that was too early. I think I want to say it was like Kevin Wilson or Mangino for a year, and then they promoted Heupel from on. Heupel got promoted, I'm pretty sure, from on staff to OC while he was at Oklahoma. Well, anyway, he was involved in that, and basically that was a fad, like the head coach in waiting. A bunch of schools did it. I can't remember if Kentucky was one of the first.
Or like in the middle of it, yeah.
But I remember, it happened at Texas with Muschamp. I think that was going on around that time. It happened West Virginia. They go and hire Dana Holgerson, making the offensive coordinator, head coach in waiting for Bill Stewart, and that was a whole mess. So that ended up not people stopped doing it because it was a mess, but that was the thing at the time.
Yeah, very popular.
And so that's why again, Joker at the time, they were doing well in state recruiting. Louisville was teetering a little bit.
Yep.
Because they wasn't at the Crackthorpe, because they lost all that leverage from when Petrino left for the Falcons.
Right.
Crackthorpe, Petrino left for the Falcons after 06. Kentucky has this big year in 07. Crackthorpe, they start going downhill. So that's why I think they ultimately did it. But yeah,
Yeah. And
It did not work.
he kept the boat afloat for a year. Joker's issue is that after 1 year, he basically fired all of the Rich Brooks guys. Like Ron Brown, I think, was one, or Steve Brown.
Steve Brown, he kept Steve Brown around. That was his defensive coordinator.
But after that first year, he fired a lot of assistants.
Ron, Jimmy Higgins, our offensive line coach, Rick Petrie, the defensive line coach. I believe both those guys were highly known for just being good developers and schemers, all that. And there was a couple more. I think that Joker.
Crazy, you can pull these names.
Let go. Yeah, it's why I just,
sicko.
This is what I do. This is what I do. This is why KSR pays me, or On3 pays me the big bucks. But yeah, he makes like 3 or 4 changes, and but that's part of the issue. But the other part, they needed to be modernized as a program.
Yeah.
Back then, Nick, and this is when Capilouto enters the chat, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had to like go to the state government to get like a loan, to get this big loan so they could do the football facility. Because that was that's when the facility push started, right there. Like in 2009, 2010, that's when Clemson built the building with a slide. And all that stuff was going on. So Kentucky was a little late to that, but they ended up getting it done, and they really just need to be modernized. Ultimately, that was a big thing with Joker, and the other thing was you felt like they were really well coached and really well prepared under Brooks. They lost some of that, and then they didn't evaluate, I don't think, as well, and you didn't get the recruiting bump that you thought might be coming from Joker. And then Charlie Strong shows up at Louisville, and that didn't help.
Players,
that didn't help much. And so that's how we get to the Stoops era. Mitch kind of goes with his gut on the Stoops hire. Tim Couch helps him on there, and that's how we get to the Stoops hire. And everyone knows the Cal, how we number Cal. But for Mitch,
football-wise, like that at that time,
he made 2 really good hires. You just have to say with Brooks and Stoops.
Yeah, and the thing with Stoops is it wasn't just, I'm going to hire you to coach football. I'm going to hire you to build this program, and I'm going to make sure you've got the financial backing to get it done.
Right.
And this is where my timelines are a little fuzzy, because I believe the stadium got done the year before the facility. It's because the stadium was 15, and then 16, I want to say, was the first year of the new facility. But like the Kentucky could not compete without I think it's probably over $200 million they invested in the stadium upgrades in the new practice facility. They just couldn't. It wasn't going to happen. And Mitch got it done to put Kentucky on a level playing field. And then he had a coach who brought in the talent that made it an even playing field. And we saw the most successful 4-year run of our lifetimes. So I know that they're in between the big successes. There's a lot to nitpick and get mad at. Nitpick's not even the right word, because, my family was a part of the mix that got rid of season tickets whenever they changed where we were sitting, right? Like that happened to a lot of folks who had to relocate. Same thing with parking. Like change is never going to be easy. But to Mitch Barnhart's credit, he got Kentucky football fans to not just like this, the standard's much higher than what it was. I mean, even with Brooks, I thought that was the ceiling, man. I thought 7-5 was the ceiling for this program. Not the case. I mean, Stein's got a year, a rope, but that's like the baseline now instead of the ceiling. So like you have to give credit to Mitch Barnhart for that, because I don't. This is for the longest time been. I forgot who described it, but like the athletic department, it was just purely judged based on what the Kentucky basketball team did. Now the TV money dictates that like you have to have a football program that competes, and Mitch got this program to where it can compete in the SEC.
Right. I mean, when he got this job, it was Kentucky was good at basketball and sucked at everything else.
Yeah.
For lack of a better phrasing. And so the one thing Mitch did is like he let all his, I thought, programs eat. Mm-hmm. Like there was frustration, I think, with how long it took him to get to each because he would go down, and there was frustration. Like the Cal thing is obvious, right? Because he wanted to build the new track facility.
Yeah.
And Cal was wanting Joe Kraft Center
Right.
renovated.
You had to take your turn.
Right. That was kind of
Mhm.
that, but that's how Mitch, operated. And you go down the list, while he was here, like all these programs got big time.
I think tennis is the last one standing. That was the one he didn't get, but he's trying to work it into that new entertainment district, which we talked about last week.
Right. Look at the last 10 years. New baseball, new track. You got
the football
Kroger Field updates and the standalone facility.
Was
Rupp Arena, like whatever. I don't know how much he had to do with all that, but that happened as well. He was also part of the Rupp Arena or build a stadium or build. Remember all that was going on like in 2010, 11, 12?
Yeah, that was nutty. I'm assuming, yeah, he definitely did the soccer softball combo too. So a lot of facility upgrades. You know what? He also bought Stoops a couple extra years with an 8-game SEC schedule. He did do that. That was there. Not the kind of guy that would use his political cachet often amongst the big wigs around the conference, around the NCAA. But for that, it certainly helped. So we're able to do what we do because Kentucky football is in a different place. And, Mitch Barnhart deserves some credit for that. He's going to get crushed for some of the stuff, clearly the contracts and all that sort of deal. It's a lot of money. They're still going to owe Mark Stoops, Mark Stoops got a new gig. He's going down to, is it 6th Street in Austin?
That is right. Before we can talk about Stoops, I do want to get to a couple things.
Yeah.
With Mitch.
Okay.
I'll save this one. But number one, Mark Hill's obviously a candidate for this job.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mark Hill used to be like the Kentucky strength coach.
Was he really?
Yeah, Mark Hill was like he's worked directly in one form or fashion with the football program for like a quarter of a century, since the beginning of Mitch. I think he was a strength coach, and then he was I don't think he was an SID, but he's risen up the.
Yeah, he essentially was the consigliere between Stoops and Barnhart.
Right, to that point, right? I think if Stoops was still here, I bet he'd be pushing hard for Mark Hill to get the job.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Stoops is not here, but that's just interesting. Obviously he's like the next man in line, for the tree, that the admin tree, next branch for Barnhart. But that's interesting. I think that's of note, specifically looking at it from a football lens, is that Mark Hill has worked closely.
Big football guy.
With this program. Yeah, played linebacker at Iowa Western. He is a football guy. And so that is, he's been involved in the Stoops search. He was involved in the Stein search, I believe. He's the one at Churchill Downs when they go, Nick, for the preseason lunches, Mark Hill's was with Stoops the ones I've been to.
The story goes that, and I don't know how much I believe it, where the Arkansas, when the Cal Arkansas thing was happening, Cal thought it was a leverage tool, and he was like, no, this is out there, but I want to come back. And Mark Hill had to be the one to go to Cal's house and be like, yeah, it's done, dude. Let's see ya. But that's nowhere. It's funny too, because you mentioned that, and I thought of Rock Oliver. Rock Oliver is still, I'm not sure what his job is, but he's still sitting behind the bench doing his thing. He's like the basketball version of Mark Hill with just, I'm sure, less responsibilities. What other things did you want to hit before we move on from Mitch?
Yeah, Mitch talks today, 2:30
Friday.
Friday, excuse me, Friday at 2:30. Very just interested in knowing more about this job he's got. That is the most, I think, probably interesting part of this whole thing. 4 years, $950,000. Mm-hmm. There's already been miscommunication.
Yes, clearly.
About who's paying this, whether it's because with this LLC, the athletic department's separate. First, it was going to be the I guess the university was going to pay it. Now it's the athletic department. And what that means just for, like, what is it? Well, I don't even, like, what is this job? Like, we don't know what this job is. And
They
Matt's
made
been
it
all over
sound
this.
like he's a dean of a program that's going to just help kids get jobs in sports, which, pardon me, but you know how you get kids jobs in sports? They're just interns for UK athletics. So I don't.
Isn't that the point of going to school? Like,
Yeah. So I don't know. And he already was going to have some sort of role that paid $800,000, but
like ambassador type thing.
right. But like, why are we
To
sweetening
me,
the pot even more?
I don't even want to get into it if you think it, because I think some people think it's not right.
Right. But
Like, not right. Now, I don't want to get into all that, but I want to get into just like, okay, if he's hanging around in any capacity, hire almost has to be
internal.
in-house.
Yeah.
Almost has to be. Like, just let's be common sense guys right now. Just like, it would be just weird. A guy who had no relation to Mitch, national search, if you go out and pluck some AD, and Mitch is just sitting there. It would just be weird, I think.
You think it'd be weird if it was one of his former guys?
No. Well, I guess the former guys, but I don't know how feasible that is. Like, how feasible is it really?
It's the Browns wanting their new coach to keep Jim Schwartz as the DC while Jim Schwartz is trying to be the head coach.
I mean, you're talking about a guy at Oregon who can call Mr. Nike at any point.
Bama.
You're talking about a guy at Florida. You're talking about a guy at Alabama. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe it would work out. Yeah, I could see that. But I don't know how, like,
yeah.
And I've talked about it. Like, these ADs jump for certain jobs. Like, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't know. And like, it's not like you're inheriting a clean slate at all. Coaches are hired for the most part, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, that's it smells like, oh, this is just going to be an in-house hire. That's what it smells like to me. We'll see how it plays out. But with Mitch having that role, like, to me, it seems hard, like, for you to go out. Maybe they will, but I just have a hard time seeing that.
Well, we may be seeing it. Who knows? I'm sure Mitch will have some word salad for us Friday afternoon. It's very congratulatory. It is rather amusing to me that pretty much his last sort of official public appearance with the media was just him scolding folks at the end of the Will Stein introductory press conference, which that was something. Oh boy.
Yeah. we talked about that as he, towards the end, he kind of just
took the gloves off.
Put his guard down.
Yeah. Well, he also started talking more, and then you realize, okay, so maybe this is why he didn't talk that much back then.
Yeah. He didn't make many speaking appearances really since I've been on the beat. I can't speak before.
Well, it's infinitely more than he used to, because it used to just be like a once a year type deal at media day. But Mitch, he's a competitive guy, and people who worked with him really liked him. And
that's another thing.
That should tell you a lot about who he was as a boss and as somebody who served in that role. Because it's not just the people who work from him. Like, a lot of the players really like Mitch because he's the dude that's like, he's there, right? I mean, he shows up to all the stuff, and when he's there, he's like gritting his teeth and just like
jumping in the pool. Didn't he jump in the pool after they won the SEC in swimming? I think.
Yeah.
I think, like, the thing about him as a boss, like, people that work for him swear by him, and so there is, like, you have to respect that, especially in this day and age, and especially like there was a lot of, like, when the pandemic was going on, how no one lost their jobs, and just took care of his people. So you do have to, you've got to respect that, at least from the outside looking in, even if you're, why do I care about that? But like, but as a person, you've got to respect that leadership.
Well, I think Kentucky's going to get some new leadership. We'll know before the 2020 6 Kentucky football season kicks off September 5th against the Penguins of Youngstown State. Whew. Be here before you know it. Before we move on to what Mark Stoops has done, I got to remind you, Friends of Cole, friendsofcolekentucky.org. That's the website. Go visit to learn more about them. They're there telling you what Cole does. It's resilient, it's reliable, affordable. It's been a part of the state's past. It's going to play a role in the future. Visit friendsofcolekentucky.org to find out more. We found out this week, Mr. Luckett, that Mark Stoops has got a new gig in Austin. I would have probably put Texas as the second choice.
Yeah.
Behind Kirby Smart always seemed like the most likely option for one of those special assistant to the head coach roles. Because him and Kirby were boys. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But he also always had a lot of nice things to say about Sark. Sark and Mike Stoops worked together at Bama. Stoops coached against Sark when he was at Arizona, and Sark was at Washington. There's a lot of history there. And then when Neil Brown got that job at North Texas, it kind of opened up the opportunity for Stoops to slide in and get one of these special assistant roles in the SEC. And hey, the good news is, I think even more so for Stoops, he doesn't have to come back to Lexington to face his old team in year one.
Yeah, that would be weird. I keep going back to the picture, Nick, of when Kentucky went to Texas and he got the Spurs. I should have pulled this up before we talked.
Yeah.
That was and just the he's like, what the?
I was supposed to do these.
I didn't even know this was a thing. This is new. What's going on here? But yeah, I go back to that. But yeah, though, even if he had some type of offset, that's not a real. No. That's what this is the Saban creative role where he would bring guys in who got fired, who would kind of work while their buyout got paid out.
Yeah.
And then they would use that as a jumping off point to go get a job. So to me, I thought there was a pretty good chance that he was just done with coaching.
Yeah, I did too.
I thought that that would have been if I was a bookmaker, that would have classified that as the favorite. But him doing this tells me that he wants to still coach. Now, I think this might be for him a test. Do I want to jump back in and coordinate?
Well, the other thing too, he's going to go to a place at Texas that it's a modern football organization, right? So he can get some organizational expertise from this experience. And you know what? Maybe he does it for a year or two and then says, I'm good. Right?
To me, I think this is all I think if he wanted to be a head coach, he's got to be willing to go be an not FCS, group of 6 head coach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know Mark on a personal level, but just talking to him over the years from a covering stand, I get the sense that he doesn't want to do that.
No.
I get the sense he wants to be in the big leagues. So to do that, he's going to have to be a defensive coordinator, in my opinion. And the guy who's defensive coordinator for Texas just got done doing what Mark's doing now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sit out a couple years. He jumped in 1 year with Georgia, got back out. I'd be like, Schumann was kind of the number one there, I guess. But yeah, now he's running the defense for Texas and just
it's a Muschamp, by the way.
Yeah, Muschamp. Sorry, I didn't say the name. Who kind of went through the same experience as Stoops, right? Got fired, whatnot, took some time off.
Ooh, here's a good question: is Muschamp who's older, Muschamp or Stoops?
Believe Stoops is older.
I would think so too.
I think by a couple years, not by much. Muschamp was young when he first got that Florida job.
Yeah. So Stoops is 4 years older. Stoops is 58.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I wonder. It's like when you're 60, do you want to get back? How much do you want to get back into it?
That's why he's going to learn quick, right?
Yeah.
I think if he goes here, it goes well. And you look around the country, around the landscape, this is becoming a thing to hire some of these older defensive coach. Gary Patterson, USC.
Mm-hmm.
Will Muschamp. There's another one I'm missing that just came out of nowhere. Like if this works, I think for those two, I think Mark could potentially jump in somewhere and get a DC job next year. But now I think he's going here to figure out, in my opinion, if he wants to
do it or not.
Kind of do it or not. Yeah.
Well, and the other part too, because like you could see a scenario down the line where he could go to the ACC is a great league to go and try to win quick, turn things around in a power conference. It fluctuates like crazy. I mean, look at Fran Brown from year 1 to year 2. It's a nutty league. But the thing about Stoops is I think he likes being in the bigger town/cities. The kind of lifestyle that he could live in Lexington, that he could lead in Austin.
Yeah.
How many of those schools, like, Neil Brown's going to Denton, Texas. I don't see Mark Stoops going to Denton, Texas to coach football,
So you're saying when Brett Bielema gets the Iowa job after Kirk Ferentz retires, he's not going to go be the defensive coordinator at the old alma mater?
I mean, maybe there because of familiarity, but like Champaign, is he good? Would he be interested in going to Champaign? I doubt it. Madison, I could see Madison being a DC up in there. Like that's a pretty nice sized town. But I just, because I was with you, I kind of thought, all right, you did this for 13 years. You're going to get
surprised.
paid well.
I mean, I was legitimately surprised when that news broke.
And you know what? Part of it might be just it's what he's always done, and this is a nice way to stay in it and not
have the pressure of it. Yeah.
Right. So, maybe he enjoys it for a few years and gets out. I was almost as equally surprised that Mike Stoops is getting another job at Ole Miss.
That one makes some sense though, because he worked with Golding at Alabama.
It's just that how long do you want to hold on, sort of thing, right?
Just keep cashing them checks if they're willing to write them.
That one was also weird that they mentioned it during the playoff and it didn't get reported for 3 months. I mean,
the Ole Miss beat, they got too much going on down there, Nick. There's just too much going on. That's like way at the bottom of the to-do list.
Confirming that Mike Stoops is going to be.
It's like, why is that house down the street not rake the leaves? I don't know, man. The guy works 80 hours a week. Let's give him a break. That is the Ole Miss beat.
Oh, because they had the Trinidad Chambliss hearing, man. Some of the clips from it just still crack me up when I hear that judge talk.
Did you see how they lost the basketball game? Not only that, like Stephen A. Smith goes to the women's game. Did you see how they the women's coach gets into it with Lane, like tweets out of they had they did some celebrity softball, not a celebrity, but like a campus softball fundraiser, and Lane struck out, tweets that out, takes a shot at Lane. And then they lost. The way they lost the basketball game the other night was crazy. They did the whole, the referees came back, reviewed a hook and hold from 3 possessions before. Malik D, I think, tripped someone. Chris Beard runs out to the court after he got kicked out of the game. I don't know if you remember that from a couple weeks ago.
Tennessee. Yeah, I remember that one. That one was good. Yeah.
I mean, an absolute nut house down there. We needed to start Ole Miss sports radio.
Goodness gracious. Oh, man. It is a crazy time of year, though, Mr. Luckett. And a lot of crazy action is happening. March. We're officially in March. Last week of the regular season. If you aren't on BetMGM yet, what are you doing, man? You got to get on BetMGM. Download the app. It's easy to do. Just go to your app store. Get BetMGM and use that bonus code ON3 when you sign up. And you're going to get 2 things. 1, you're going to get 50% off a premium subscription to ON3. And 2, $1,500 new player offer, which means you deposit money. You make a bet. If that first bet doesn't hit, you're getting your money back in bonus bets up to $1,500. $1,500, which there's a lot of games in March. It's a great time to take full advantage of what BetMGM is offering you right now. Just use that bonus code ON3 when you sign up. You get that 50% off your annual subscription to ON3 and up to $1,500 in a first bet offer in bonus bets when you use code ON3 at BetMGM. Make this March legendary. Make it one for the record books with BetMGM. See betmgm.com for terms. 21 plus only. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in the U.S. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. That first bet offers for new customers only, subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. All right, Luckett. Spring practice. It's starting on Tuesday. We get a busy first week where it's spring practice, pro day, spring practice, spring practice. They're going to log 3 of them in before spring break and then do 3 a week, which culminates in the blue-white spring game on April 18th, 11 a.m. kickoff. As you predicted before that Kentucky baseball game against Vanderbilt, only one side of the stands is going to be able to be used because of the construction underway at Kroger Field. They're expanding some suite areas, try to up the premium experiences. So that's going to be a factor. I haven't admitted this publicly yet, Luckett, but you and JD are going to have to do some heavy lifting that day.
I think you did on the. I think we talked about this last week.
You did on the hat. Okay. We may have picked a bad time to schedule the golf trip. It happens. I also found out I got some family coming in that weekend. It's like, why are y'all? Just let me go golf in peace, fellas.
I have to admit, I committed to a golf scramble before I had the spring date, and it was last Saturday. It's the Saturday, the Master Saturday. So I was like, because you said that the other day, and then I started thinking, I was like, oh shoot, did I do that on the wrong day? Luckily, it's a week before.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on this time of the year, but we are going to get some Kentucky football. I know I don't want to beat the dead horse. The newness of it all is exciting. We're going to get introduced to all of these coaches throughout spring practice. So you're hearing from a different assistant basically after each practice. So that part's going to be fun, just kind of figuring out who these guys are. We're going to meet Cutter at Leftwich earlier in the week. If you haven't listened to that interview, go check it out. Do you think they're going to give us much to chew on, Luckett? Because I'm very reticent to believe that will be the case. As excited as we are about some of the stuff Will Stein is saying, I fear that it is going to be mum's the word when it comes to how certain players are performing, what actually happens in practice, just based off the little bits of interaction we've had so far. I mean, credit to Cutter, man. Just trying to ask him what kind of run blocking schemes, and absolutely nothing. I mean, he couldn't even give me like, we'll do a little bit of this and we'll do a little bit of that. No, it was nothing. We're going to find out what we're good at. So I'm just hesitant to expect some glowing reviews from players unless somebody, really kind of takes the bull by the horns.
Unless we get a JJ Weaver is what you're saying at the microphone.
Right, where it just kind of comes out of left field. But like Kenny Minchie does not strike me as the type that's going to go out and make a bunch of headlines in interviews.
What's the over-under on variations of competitors? Some variation of that word.
I think a dozen per post-practice.
I feel like that is going to be the theme of spring.
Compete, competitive, compete.
Yeah.
You're out there and just iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
Yep.
Feel like that is going to be it's a spring. To me, Nick, I think like the first couple ones, you'll get the unique part about this one, how they're setting it up is like we get to talk to all the different coaches. So like each coach will only go to the mic outside of Stein. Each coach will go to the mic once.
Just once. Yeah.
So that'll be different. Maybe you get different variations of that. But you know how spring goes. Like after a little bit, everyone's just
they're bored with
like
it.
A slog. Yeah. So I think that's probably how it will play out. I would just be interested to just see like just how they format it and then what the spring game looks like. And there are some things we're going to learn. To me, we're going to learn where like who's playing left guard, like who's even in the mix there. To me, number one. After that, throw your hands up.
Well,
because I don't know like where else you're going to really find answers because there's going to be rotations at positions. Maybe we'll learn who they like more per se at corner
or
and
receiver
all of
or
that.
something. Yeah, like
Yeah, but even at receiver, we know who the 4 are to me.
yeah, but I mean, does Shane Carr become a consistent kind of guy? Right, like
Yeah.
that's what
Also,
you're hoping
right.
for somebody like him.
Also, the injuries. Like, are these guys practicing that have injury histories? Because they added a few of them.
That's true. C.J. Baxter, Nick Anderson. One thing I think that is something you can glean from all of the little signs, the little breadcrumbs they drop out. We saw a video from one of the workouts where Teron Nichols is leading the kind of hoorahs after practice or before, whatever part of that lifting session was, and that is it's noteworthy to me. Because I mean, we didn't really know what they thought about him, and he's dealt with some injuries too, where he's got 2 half seasons under his belt. Like, and for me, the bigger question is about Willie Rodriguez. I think he physically, combining with the scheme that they're bringing, he can be the breakout star for this team. And when I say breakout, I mean like the SEC knows who he is. Kentucky fans love Willie Rodriguez, don't get me wrong. But up until this point in his career, he's been the underclassman that shows all this potential. How does he step forward and mature as a leader? Like, is he one of the guys that they want as sort of a spokesman? How does he bond with Minchie? That's it's a little thing that can become a big thing that I'll be keeping an eye on this spring.
Yeah, I definitely think he's one of the big ones. And then, like, Harley Gilmore.
Dude.
I'll be interested. Do we get anything on how that played out, whether it's from him or the staff? And just
I doubt it's from him. Just a hunch.
That is, I mean, that's interesting.
So when that news happened, it was like an hour after Pete Thamel reported that Mitch was retiring.
Yeah, there was a lot going on.
I had more people hit me up about Harley Gilmore than I did about Mitch because people kind of had a hunch that Mitch's days were numbered, but the Harley Gilmore thing came out of left field, and the other part of it is it's not like last year's move. You could rationalize it. His wide receivers coach leaves for Nebraska. He goes with him. Things aren't working out. Well, the spring portal's open. He'll just come back. This one is just weird because not only did he do the flip during the portal, but like, how in the hell is he even back? Like,
do we even know if he ever enrolled at Baylor?
Right. We don't know. And that he may not have. He may have signed and then just never showed up to Waco. Or he arrived and was like, ooh, I got to get the hell out of here before I do anything. So I don't know. And the other part of it too, Luckett, is
don't forget he was committed to Louisville.
Yeah. So he did the Louisville commitment for like a week, flips to Baylor. But like in Gilmore's case, we go back to how complimentary Bush was in that first camp. Baisley said he's the best thing since sliced bread. I've never seen a receiver this young work this well, be so good. But after 2 years, we've seen him, and obviously there are some caveats you have to give. Maybe Bush stunk, right? And not exactly
hurt. Like him not going through spring practice was an issue.
So like there is some stuff that could have held him back from reaching his potential. But if he is as good as some people would say he is online, I think he's a bona fide SEC wide receiver too. Dane and Barryon did significantly more in their first 2 years than Gilmore did. And I know he was a reclass and he's younger and all this stuff, but like, are we sure he's good is basically what I'm asking, right? He, in my mind, Luckett, there's that clump of guys in the middle where, I don't know, maybe he can be the second best of them, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he just didn't play and all those other guys were light years ahead of him.
As far as how is this allowed, I think if he didn't enroll at Baylor, I think it's fine.
Yeah,
in a weird way. I think it's fine. Okay, so yes, to your point, like receivers, early they can play or not. It's been 2 years for Harley. He's had some good. This last year was more down than up, I would say.
Yeah.
So yeah, but to me, like I think it speaks. I'm not sure the level that it speaks at, but I do think it speaks to that there is some concern about the room.
It's fair.
Like that. Just go back to the portal they were all in on DeAndre Moore Jr.
Which, if you all didn't see the quotes from Brennan Marion this week, you can understand why they got him at Colorado. They were all in on him, and they had the pre-existing relationship. They got it across the plate.
So they were all in on DeAndre Moore, and they rode the wave, right? I think one good thing, or one specific good thing Kentucky did in the portal to me, Nick, is they put numbers on guys and they didn't stray from them. They stood their ground. Some of those came back to them. Like Baxter recruitment's the big one, right?
Right.
Where with Moore,
he was the only one that they were kind of willing to wait on.
I think they were willing to wait, but I don't know what specifics, but I think there was a little bit of a negotiation that went on there. And maybe that price got bumped up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't heard that for a fact, but that's just me kind of reading how that went.
Mm-hmm.
So they were all in to get him. That was the stud, right?
Yeah.
So he goes to Colorado. Their pivot was get Nick Anderson, get Shane Carr. But you have to wonder if they would have moved on from Moore earlier, would they got someone else instead of Nick Anderson and Shane Carr? We don't know.
No.
But I think they've got 3 guys in that room, and then it's like all freshmen after that, right? And there's a lot of unknown. Like Jacaden Ferguson didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
You're bringing Brock Kaufman in from Louisville. Like all these guys are pretty much to me like freshmen. Like, even though this is their second year, they're pretty much like freshmen. And then Kenny Darby, I think you should be excited about potentially, but he's a true freshman.
DJ Miller played half a season, was good in a half a season, but
so then you add to the whole room or just the situation. Shane Carr is leveling up.
Yep.
So you trust in your eval, but there's
from a run-heavy offense too.
Yeah, but there's just a competition level he's moving up to, and just how does his game translate to that?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. And the other one is just Anderson played 4 years of college. He looked awesome one year, and you haven't seen it since. Now, most of it was due to injury, and last year at LSU was really weird with his whole situation. And LSU's just offense in general was just –
it was a mess. I mean we found out Nussmeier – what was that? Brian Kelly was a huge just jerk about the speculation from Nussmeier's injury, and then Nussmeier says to the combine, I was injured the entire year. It hurt to throw.
Yeah, we'll probably hear about Arch's shoulder at SEC Media Days.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
So like there's just some concern. Like Anderson's injury history,
mm-hmm.
Carr's leveling up, DJ Miller you like, but you don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to me, Gilmore just having him, it's just extra insurance for the room.
That's true. So if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. I
get why
what does it cost you?
They were willing to take him back, however that played out. But if you remember last time, like before it was reported, we knew for a while, but we just couldn't get it confirmed that he was coming back to UK.
Oh yeah. Like he was. It was basically like he was on campus.
He had to move back in an apartment with whoever he lived with was kind of the story.
Right.
And he was there for a month or so before the news.
Before Matt Rule started, mucking things up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's interesting. I think in all of this too, like our job, we get into the nitty-gritty details. We love it. That's why we do this every week on 11 personnel, and we'll probably do it even more than that throughout this offseason. But the nitty-gritty details aren't going to define what this team does in the fall as much as just, is the quarterback good? Which, we saw the ebbs and flows of how the hype machine spun and did not spin throughout the Stoops era. The talking points from Will Stein have remained consistent as far as what they believe in Kenny Minchie can be. They're saying all the right things. Like how does it look, right? And how quickly does it click for him and these pass catchers? I mean, a lot of it is just going to come down to, in that spring game, is Kenny Minchie going to just look awesome? Is it going to be clear that, okay, this guy, we got something here? And we haven't had a lot of opportunities in recent years to examine it in the spring game because Stoops just kind of abandoned it. But I go back to a long time ago when it was Terry Wilson or Gunnar Hoke. And it was it was so clear, right? It was like, oh, well, Terry Wilson's the quarterback. Like, it's not even close.
Even his first year, though, everyone was excited, and they made the spring game a huge event, but people didn't really know quarterback, and they were excited to see like how it looked, and he just ran 3 out there for the first play. So, that'll be just getting to see Minchie, right? Yeah, that's going to be
because he's also much bigger than, we'll get to size him up in person at some point, but just the clips they've shown of him and lifting weights and stuff, I'm like, oh, pretty big dude. You don't expect that. So I'm excited to have it back, to hear from people, to get in the mix, to get up to Lexington quite a bit. Well, you will have once the first week is over, there will be a spring break. Spring break's opening weekend at the NCAA tournament. I have some fond memories of that from my time in college, of debauchering just all over Kingdom Come with spring break and NCAA tournament. But the Cats, they'll return back for spring practice the week after that. And the routine will be a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday when we get updates, with updates from Sign every Saturday. So that's what you can look for, coverage on the site. We'll share what we hear on KS Board as well. But it's exciting. It's exciting. Just football back.
Football time in the Bluegrass.
One more thing before we go, just shout out to the former Cats at the Combine. It did not, it did not. We weren't trying to lobby to get up there because I don't know how much people cared about Mark Stoops' players and how they performed at the Combine. But at the same time, they did really well. I don't think UK's lack of success was for a lack of athleticism.
Best testing for a group of UK players at the Combine since I've been doing it, but not even close to me.
I'm going through my head, and because even the classes that had a lot of guys, it wasn't because they tested well.
Just think about the 18 team.
Yeah, like Edwards wasn't a great tester.
CJ didn't test great. He had the weird thing where he couldn't.
The heart murmur,
yeah. The medical. So
that
was
a good tester. But this is like pretty much every Kentucky guy except for Josh Braun was off.
Even Braun was not. It wasn't bad. It was just kind of
average.
Yeah, average. But everyone else was off the chart, and a lot of it checked out to me for the most part. McGowan, I think it's with him, he got hurt. I think we can look back, and he was kind of a shell of himself the last half of the season, really after the Georgia game. But you saw some of that, and you saw that before preseason, just more of his speed and kind of explosiveness. But then his shuttle time wasn't great. That makes sense because it felt like it took him forever to get revved up as a tailback. Jagger, that's why he was highly ranked as a recruit. A lot of it was due to his athletic profile. Farmer, I was kind of surprised by. That 40 he ran was surprising. Gusta, that's what we knew. Twitchy and strong, and he showed that off. And so, really good. I think good performance for all of them. I think they're all going to have a good chance to get drafted on day 3. I think Farmer for sure. And I think McGowan will get picked. After that, all of them I think are going to be close. But I
It just
think,
depends if a team falls in love with him or not,
yeah, if they hit on a couple, yeah, I think they could get to 4 or so picks.
That is 6 weeks away, 7.
You
That's
tell me. You're the Derby guy, so it's just what's that? The weekend before Derby?
yeah. We'll be running 13 miles the day of a lot of these guys are getting picked. So
Oh shoot, I didn't even think about that.
I know Jack and
Yeah,
Zach. They're gonna be posting if they get picked or
yeah.
not. My ass is gonna be laid up.
Guess I'm listening to the draft while I finish that run.
Which we're excited about. Well, Lexington Podiatry is going to hook us up to get us ready for the run. So they're going to be partnering with us all leading up to that. So I know you've got it circled on your calendar. You can't wait to run 13 miles like it. Just I can see it right in your eyes right now.
I started my little 8-week out training this week. Got a big run this weekend coming up. But yeah,
dude, the weather's not great for the long runs. I'm trying to figure out because I've been basing all of my long runs on best weather day. There's not a lot of good weather days. So
that's spring. That's the spring. I guess it's not spring yet, but might as well.
I know,
be.
but it rained every single day this week. It's just
that is Kentucky. That's why spring's my least favorite. It's just a big tease, right? Like,
yeah,
here's
it's warmer,
degrees.
but you can't go out and enjoy it.
Here's 75 degrees, but here's some rain. Oh, you've got a couple of nice days in a row. Where's here's 38 out of nowhere. now you're going to get sick. Just Mother Nature's just a big tease around here in the spring.
Well, if this was just a big tease for you, don't you worry. We've got more coming today. I'm hanging out in the happy hour, so you can come see about it at 4. And then, what time is y'all doing baseball tonight?
Going live at 7. Pump it up. I'm going to talk
7.
about Batcats 6 in a row. Last weekend series before SEC play starts. They're playing good ball right now. And Tyler Bell sounds like he's coming back this week.
Nice. So look at hanging out with JD tonight. It's JD. Nobody's been walked into UK baseball aside from Keith Madison as long as Jeff Drummond. Keith Madison, the one outlier. So you have that to look forward to today. I will just say I've enjoyed the gamers look it because I'm not watching, but I'm like, all right, give me a couple sentences like it. What happened? Oh, we hit a grand slam. Hell yeah. So appreciate your contributions. I know you're enjoying the broadcast each day.
Jeff Picoro getting some run.
There we go.
UK baseball. It's been because Darren Hedrick's doing double duty right now. So Picoro and Kappas have been kind of swapping out, but it's been nice to hear the football guy just calling some baseball, which he did forever for the Reds.
Yeah, baseball guy through and through that was what, 15-year run with the Reds?
Long time, yeah.
Which, by the way, Hunter Green, is he it's like as soon as I want to try with the Reds, they just piss me off. I'm like,
well, welcome to the brotherhood or the fanhood.
Like if Hunter, because right now, and this is showing my age, Hunter Green is just like he's just daring to be Kerry Wood. Like I freaking love the Woodzilla, and 20 strikeouts, just throwing gas, and then elbow done. Like Hunter Green, he's teetering on that, man. And MRI better be solid.
I think it'll be fine. It's just they're just extra precautionary with him, which it just is what it is. Like if he gave him 100, like if he could just give him 120 innings and be healthy at the end of the year, you just kind of have to take it. But they've got some depth. They'll be okay. But yeah, like not having him because he's absolutely electric when he's out there.
Did you see the guy who clocked 107 last week?
I did not.
There was, I think it was a college guy hit 107, or it might have been spring training.
Mississippi State has a lefty, I believe, true freshman, and he was the hardest throwing guy ever come out of high school. I think hit 104 on the gun, and I think first game he was humming 102 down there. So that's going to be something to watch for this year in the SEC. Yeah, they've got a squad. Good. Mississippi State's got a squad this year.
Did they end up winning that game? The kid hit the walk off.
No, UCLA ended up coming back and taking it. UCLA's a wagon. Georgia Tech's a wagon.
What's the guy's name for Mississippi State?
Rock Chalowski or something like. He'll be the number 1 pick.
For him to come in, just like, all right, let me hit a game-tying 2-run bomb.
Well, they got another guy who's just hitting bombs all over the place. Like I can't think of his name. They're the best team I've seen so far. Texas is good. Mississippi State is good. LSU is kind of right now. Them and Arkansas aren't off to the best start, but I think Kentucky's right there in that middle mix in SEC, but that'd be good enough to host if you're
Yeah.
studying that throughout the year.
If you want to hear more, pump it up tonight at 7.
Right.
Plenty to discuss this spring. You're probably not going to enjoy the rain, but we hope you enjoyed this edition of 11 Personnel. For Adam Larkin, I'm Nick Roush. Go Cats and go Kroger.